Limited for CAMNET conference is now scheduled for May 2021 with your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
We have believed that every Zambian was born for greatness and that you and I can contribute to the development of this nation.
The big questions to ask are, can Zambia develop through agriculture? Can we produce indigenous Zambian millionaires? Plan not to miss this national conference on empowering Zambians through agriculture knowledge. Dates 28th to 29th May 2021. Time 07:30 hours to 16:30 hours. Venue The Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Charges 950 kwacha. Lunch inclusive for both days. Payments through via mobile money on 0962 965 883 or 0979 753 010, or you can pay via Stanbic Bank account number 91 3000 1825 325. Speakers will be Professor Reda.
We need Zambia to be one of the best nations in Africa.
Professor Munkumba.
If you just listen to a lecture, you may remember hardly anything. In 2 weeks' time, it's all gone. If you read, you may remember 10% of what you've read. If you participate in a discussion, 50% retention of the knowledge. So I always tell people, knowledge is the only thing that when you share it, you don't lose it.
Professor Msongole.
Agriculture can actually solve our unemployment for our youth. Through exports, agricultural exports, we can also stabilize our foreign exchange.
Honorable Bob Chinga.
When you do a budget, you plan it so that all the sectors, especially those that will give you low-lying fruits, in other words, you can achieve a lot with it, are the first things you do first.
And biologist Kamweneshe.
If we came together and put our hands together and concentrate on the soil. The people in Kenya, these Swahili people said, Dongo ni mali, means soil, that's money.
Register your participation through CAMNET lines. CAMNET TV, not just another channel.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this Monday edition of National Matters. I am your pastor, Pastor Moses Chiluba, and I'm so privileged. In the studio, I have one of the people that will be speaking during the conference, but tonight, I want to introduce him first, and then you see that God has given us different assignments. In the studio with me, I have Professor Chiwelushi Musongole.
Yes.
Professor, welcome to the station.
Thank you very much for having me.
How has been your day?
My day was great.
I'm very grateful. And the family?
The family is well too.
If you are to look into that camera, CAMNET TV is a family. They're just waiting to see who comes on National Matters.
You're right.
What would you say who Professor Chiwelushi is?
Well, like the pastor said, my full names are Chiwelushi Musongole. I'm married to Monica, and between us we have 3 children. Zeviani, who is our firstborn, he's 24 years old. Then Witu, he is, I think Witu is 20 or 21.
I'm sure your wife is just saying, there he goes.
Yeah. And then we have Tapiwa, who is about 12 years old, between us, yeah.
Okay. Mwitu.
Witu.
It's like a Namwanga Mambwe.
That's a Lambia.
It's a Lambia.
Yeah.
Witu means was.
Ours.
That's right.
And Zevian means celebrating.
I can hear that.
Yeah. In fact, they have long names. Zeviani Vions Musongole. Witu is Witu Taonga Musongole, and Tapiwa is just Tapiwa Musongole.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Professor, tell the nation, Steve, who is Professor Musongole?
Well, that's a big question. I'm just myself. I was born in Shiwangandu many years back, and I was educated in Isoka district, going to Chiwanda Primary School with great friends like Mavuto Mgala, who is still alive today. And then I went to Mungu Secondary School, where I did my grade 8 to grade 12. That time we called it Form 1.
Form 1.
To Form 5.
Yeah.
And then after that, I went to university in 1980, where I studied mathematics with education. Then after that, I did my MSc in statistics, specializing in stochastic processes in the UK. And then I did my PhD at the University of Cape Town in statistics, fuzzy logic, and chaos theory, applied to stock exchange markets. Yeah.
First and foremost, Professor, what excited you or interested you to take mathematics?
Well, it was my father, actually. When we were young, before school, my father always taught us multiplication table. And he also taught us alphabetical order. For example, at the time I went to school, that was about, I was supposed to go to school in 1967 as grade 1. It was at a time that you needed to do this.
Absolutely.
And my hand was short, so I wasn't picked in 1967.
Yeah.
67, right. And then in 1968, again, I wasn't picked for the same reason. So 2 weeks after the schools had started, I heard from my friend, the one I mentioned, Mavuto, that in fact people were going to class even though they were not picked. So I sneaked into class.
So that Mavuto, friend of Mugala?
Yes.
From that time to now, you are still friends?
We are still friends. And even the other day I was with him. And today we spoke.
From 67?
From 1966, actually.
My goodness.
Yes. He's a great guy. He's my brother, actually.
I'm telling you.
Yes.
No, you are friends. So
when,
the one who told you?
Yeah, he told me that people are going to class. So we went together. We sneaked into class. And while we were in class, the teacher said, can we go and write a 5 outside? I was the only child who wrote a 5.
No.
And yes. And the teacher, we wrote on the ground, and the teacher called everybody to come and see how a 5 is written. When we went back to class, he was asking questions like 2 times 2, 3 times what, and I was the only child answering. And after class, when the class ended, he called the register, the roll call, and I was not in the register. Then he said, "Oh, you're not in the register, and yet you are so clever." To cut the story short, later on, about 2 weeks, 3 weeks into learning, more children came, and the class was full. So the headmaster came to throw out everybody that was not registered. He took us to his office, and he said, "Anybody who doesn't know multiplication table, go home." That's how I survived, because I knew multiplication table. My father taught me multiplication table. Really? That's how I started school. And for your information, when I was graduating at the University of Cape Town, one professor had asked me the same question you're asking me: how did you get interested in mathematics? I told him this story. During my graduation, there was a big headline: "No more sneaking into class." Yeah. So that
was in
Isoka.
Isoka.
Yeah. But I told this same story to my professor at the University of Cape Town. And when I was graduating, there was a big headline: "No more sneaking into class." Yeah.
So, for you, mathematics, to tell you the truth, even when I was at school, momentarily I thought the teacher for mathematics was a Satanist, because I have my cousin.
Yes.
Is in the UK. He was at University of Zambia here as in the School of Mines.
Yes.
one of his favorite subjects is mathematics.
Yes.
The guy is just a genius in that area. And I'll ask him, Paul, how do you get these things right? He would say, this is the simplest subject.
Yes. Mathematics is the simplest subject. It's a language, and you need to know it, and it's cumulative. The biggest problem that people have is they want to do it from somewhere up there. You have to go to the basics, because mathematics builds up. It's not something that you can come here and learn from the top. You have to have interest to build it from step one going upwards. And of course, as you know, the attitude that people have is that math is hard. And that makes a lot of people not want even to try it. Then the other thing is that when you are doing mathematics, you must be prepared to be interested when it is hard. When it's difficult to find a solution, that's when you must be interested to say, what is it that I don't know, that I need to know to solve the problem? So you must take long at the problem.
What would you say, Professor? Our last born daughter, she was here at St. Mary's.
Yes.
And mathematics was not her fun, obviously. But she did so well. She's studying in South Africa. And when she went to South Africa, she's studying economics, finishing this year. And you can imagine mathematics became her best friend, and she's been doing excellent work. What would you say to that, where the child picks up mathematics at university level and not this?
I think there are various reasons. Some people, it's because they realize that, oh, in fact, this subject is very important, and I have to start paying attention. Mathematics just demands attention. So when you give it the necessary attention, it becomes easy. And when you realize that it's easy, it becomes very, very enjoyable.
Really?
Yeah. So perhaps what could have happened was just realizing that, oh, in fact, I can do this. I have a friend of mine who was very poor in math when we were growing up. And he even failed grade 7 about 3 times.
Ow.
When I was in 4th year at University of Zambia, he was 1st year. Then I asked him, what happened? He said, no, one time I just got 49% and I was the highest in class. So that in itself was an incentive for him to start working very hard in mathematics. And he passed mathematics very, very well.
Really?
And of course other subjects, and he came to university. So it's the attitude. When you change your mindset, you can actually learn mathematics and do it very well.
I want to ask, Professor, at national level, apart from the academics, how important is mathematics at national level? I'm speaking in the light of politicians. Where do you apply mathematics? How do you, apart from me counting my own money?
Mathematics is very, very important at national level. In fact, if you compare nations that have advanced in terms of economic growth, in terms of technology and science in general, those are nations that have embraced mathematics. When you look at, for example, at government level or indeed political leadership, mathematics is important if at all you are going to formulate a policy that you are going to implement in a country. Why? Because you need to have data. And when you have data, you have to use mathematical tools to help you explain what patterns are existing in that data. For you to predict the future, you need to understand mathematically what has been happening. Take, for example, if you're going to have a policy on education, you can't just dream and say, oh, we need so many schools, we need so many teachers. You have to have a model, mathematical model, that will explain to you, first of all, population growth, how many children needing schools, and where. So in that regard, mathematics becomes very important. If you look at issues like even the traffic that we experience in Lusaka, that is like fluid mechanics. Traffic flow is like fluid. So if you take that problem to mathematicians, they will help you solve using their differential equations in terms of how traffic should flow, where you should put traffic lights, where
now,
you should...
wait. Now you are taking me deeper.
Yeah.
From traffic jams,
Yes.
you can engage mathematicians.
Very true. Because the flow of traffic is like fluid. That's just a fluid. So if you take this problem to people who have done fluid mechanics, they will solve it just like that. Or indeed people that have done physics, they will solve it just like that. It's not a question of just putting traffic lights here, a junction there, and so on and so forth. Not at all. You need mathematics to help you understand the flow of traffic and then develop models that will help you decongest the same traffic that you are looking at.
Even if the roads are not enough?
Yes, of course, that's another issue. Maybe roads have to be enough, but certainly the congestion, as we have it, can actually be looked at mathematically, and possible solutions can be given. In medicine, for example, the infectious diseases, those are just what we call stochastic processes. So if you have people, or you ask people indeed to collect data in terms of a particular disease, you can model. For example, even coronavirus, you can model coronavirus so that as government or maybe leadership, you'll be able to predict the probability that so many people will be infected, and therefore strategize in terms of what you should do. Not only in Lusaka, in different places, because the infection rate is not the same in all the places. So you can actually model the infection. Malaria, you can. And I think there are people who have done medical statistics that can actually help. And all of us who have done stochastic processes and so on and so forth, and measure theory, can help in coming up with models that can predict certain phenomena.
You have a PhD in what, Professor?
My PhD was generally in statistics, but in fuzzy logic and chaos theory. Let me explain what fuzzy logic is. Fuzzy logic is the type of math that takes into account the so-called gray area. Okay? There are two types of uncertainty. There's one we call random, uncertainty due to randomness, and then uncertainty due to vagueness. Now, randomness can be dealt with using probability theory or stochastic processes. Vagueness is what we apply fuzzy logic to solve. Now, what is uncertainty due to vagueness? It is uncertainty due to the language that you use. For example, if you say a tree is tall, what is tallness? Or if something is large, what is largeness? So fuzzy logic tends to compute what we call membership functions so that it can grade the tallness or the bigness of something. What that means is that something can be big and yet small. So it's a degree. If I ask you, Pastor, would you say that the people that are outside the studio here are with us? The answer you're going to give me is no. But me who has done fuzzy logic, I'll tell you that they are here. What differs is the degree or the extent to which they are here. Yeah. Now, what is the use of fuzzy logic? These phones that you have that are behaving like human beings, they do so because fuzzy logic is used. For example, people have studied in these advanced countries, they've studied neural networks, they've studied machine learning. Now, these things, when they combine with fuzzy logic, the machines start behaving like human beings, because fuzzy logic is intrinsic to human thinking. So that's what I did, and during my PhD, we were just trying to compute, to quantify the mood of investors on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. Yeah, and I think we did quite well, because the index that we created was really responding to the events of the world that affect the stock markets. The other area, just to cut myself short, is the chaos theory. Now, chaos theory is very important, even in our day-to-day life. It is a phenomena or theory that looks for patterns in chaotic processes. If you ask a lot of people who have just done probability, they will talk about stochastic processes. Stochastic simply means random. What that means is that the process is so complex, is affected by so many degrees of freedom that you can't predict where it is going to go. A lot of people think like that about the exchange rate and so many other things. But chaos theory tends to find the pattern in that chaotic process. It is the only one of the fields, let me not say the only, it's one of the fields in statistics that is applied to phenomena without assumptions. And that is the advantage it has, because immediately it helps us know whether a process is persistent, meaning you can predict it, or a process is random, meaning it's just moving like that, or a process is mean reverting, what we call mean reverting, meaning the process can go up, come back to the stable state, go down, and so on and so forth, like that. So this type of math is very useful in terms of predicting patterns or understanding the phenomena that is affecting a process, so that you can choose what to do to affect the movement of that process, and then you can make your decisions. I don't know whether I've answered your questions, but we're talking about how leadership can use mathematics to make decisions. It's basically having information and identifying patterns in the information that they have. Identify patterns and then make predictions. Because if you don't identify patterns, you'll be thinking that what you have is meaningless. So math tends to help you understand the existing patterns in information that can help you make predictive decisions. And also, apart from that, mathematics can help you understand the salient features of the information that you have. Again, for the same reason, to make the right decisions. If you look at other institutions like the banks and so on, they need to know math to do things we call, for example, expected credit loss. Like if I borrow money from the bank, how are they going to predict that, in fact, I'll fail to pay? They have to use math. Insurance companies, how can they predict that the behavior of customers will actually entail that they will go back to that insurance company? They have to use mathematics. So math is so useful everywhere. Politicians, leaders of government, leaders of private institutions, even yourselves, you may want to know, the viewership out there. Have you collected data in terms of how viewers come in to watch your TV? You can have a model and you can start predicting. It could depend on maybe the month, or is it mid-month? Is it at the end of the month? Is it time of the year, and so on? This tells you maybe how you can strategize. So really, math is cross-cutting anywhere.
I want to ask, Professor, do you with the background and the knowledge God has endowed you with, do you sometimes work with Central Statistics? Do they know there is a Professor Musongole somewhere who is an asset to the nation and what?
Yeah, almost everyone who is there is somebody I know, and I think they know me. But you know, in this country, we have a problem. We have trained people. I'm not the only one. There are a few other people there who are specialized in a lot of areas that are very key to moving our country forward. But they are not used. I don't know why. And we retire with all this knowledge and just sit at home and do little things, and yet we can contribute to the well-being of institutions and to the well-being of the country. But we seem to have a problem in the sense that a lot of qualified people are thrown out of the system. We don't even want to look at them. So that we keep on struggling to learn one or two things almost every day.
And in place of you people who are technocrats, instead of helping the nation, we would rather borrow some brains from outside to come and solve an internal problem.
Exactly. And in fact, when you talk about consultants, most consultants, when they come here, they don't know the environment. So they start learning. There are certain workshops you go to and you have a consultant and he's asking questions and you're actually feeding him with the information. Then you ask yourselves, why haven't we used our own people?
Instead of losing foreign exchange on a person who doesn't even know anything. So, Pastor,
going back to Central Statistics Office, it's not like the colleagues that are there are not doing the job. They are doing it very well. But you never know. If you expand, in Bemba they say, so when...
Explain that, because I've got lots of friends, Tonga friends, I've got...
Oh yeah, it means that it's good to be many because you can solve a problem very easily. But the sad thing of being many is that when you have relish, it runs short.
It doesn't satisfy everyone.
Everyone, yes.
When you are being paid, you say, no, me, I did better than... But, Professor, I am so glad. And again, my wife, she's just a blessing. From the time we came to know you, and I am personally one person who admires qualifications.
I've noticed that.
I admire qualifications because I'm a pastor. But if you put me as a pastor, to say pastor fly us to England, unless if you're ready to meet Jesus before your time, because I am not a pilot. So the pilots are given for that task. Flying professors, flying presidents, different. So I value so much. And I'll tell you why. When you have a lot of illiterates, and I mean it, managing certain things, they will manage them according to their understanding. And at the end of the day, we are going to say, whites are better than us. I don't believe that.
That's true.
It's because you have put fools in front to do something they do not understand, like you are talking about mathematics. This is why I just want professionals to surround me, because I know the Bible, I can interpret, I can preach. That's my calling, that's a calling. But when it comes to mathematics, where is the professor? And this is where African countries miss it.
In fact, that's why you are so successful, because having come to encounter you, I've met so many other professionals. You're talking of Professor Reddy, for example. He's around you.
Reddy,
the other Professor Munkumbe is around you, and so many other people. And I think you're a very good example of how surrounding with yourself with professionals will make you make headways. Our country needs to change. I mean, if you look at the way we are, you look at the resources that we have. And by the way, countries that have succeeded are those that have used the resources correctly. Those that have understood the relationship between things in nature. You can't succeed if you don't understand the relationship between things. So what do you need to have to understand relationships? It's education. So if you have people who are not able to understand things, and they're ones that are in the forefront of making decisions, key decisions, then forget about yourselves. So you'll be lucky if the people that are ignorant are able to say, oh, we don't know this. Let us use the people that know. You'll be lucky. But in most cases, ignorance just takes you down and down and down. And the sad thing is that a lot of people think that having a particular position is synonymous to having wisdom. It's not like that. You can't say because I'm director here and there, therefore I have the wisdom. No. The people you work with might have more knowledge
than you.
You are there to superintend over the activities of the institution, using the resources, including human resource, around you to the fullest. So, and that is the problem in our countries, African countries, where people think because I'm in that position, then I'm wise. Then I can talk anyhow without analysis. And the sad thing is that when they talk, nobody goes back to them and tells you, look, you are ignorant. You are talking about a subject you don't know. You are misleading. Look, if leaders just understood that this country has spent so much money to educate a lot of professionals, and therefore these professionals must be used to steer the country forward, would make headways.
But you remember, Professor, I've asked you several times when we meet to say, Professor, how will you become a blessing to this nation? You were a lecturer at University of Zambia, isn't it?
Yes.
You taught a lot of people. In fact, I came to know you through Dr. Kachaka.
Who
said, Professor, he was my lecturer. And when I look, and several times I've said, how can you become a blessing to this nation? I know you have retired as a lecturer, but that does not mean education has come to an end.
Not at all.
There are a lot of people who need your wisdom, and before you go to the grave, I keep on saying, how will Zambia benefit from you?
You know, at the moment, first of all, it's important to just say where I've been. I was at UNZA at one time, then at Bank of Zambia at one time. Then I was Director General at ZPPA, Zambia Public Procurement Authority. I finished my contract there and I was retired. I went to the University of Lusaka. Although even when I was at Bank of Zambia, I was still at University of Lusaka. So I was contributing there in terms of teaching and helping PhD students, master's students at University of Lusaka. Now, I have created what I've called the Center for Mathematics Excellence. This center basically is meant to enhance mathematics in the country. It was launched in 2019, and Professor Nkanduluo, then the Minister of General Education, came to grace the occasion. This center is supposed to help even parents to induce interest in their children. Allow me to talk about that a little later.
No. I was coming to that because it's important. I was coming to the Center of Excellence, but I'm just saying that the nation at large, they don't know who Professor Musongole is. Because you've been in offices, you've been in lecture rooms where
Yeah.
If I come at university, what am I coming to do? It's to visit my nephews, my nieces, and relatives. But those who are privileged to sit under you, to see the wealth, like my wife and I have appreciated your wisdom. It's something that I just thought, and my wife and I keep on saying, we need to bring Professor Musongole to this nation.
Yeah.
Let Zambia know the kind of people that we have.
Yeah, thank you. I'm humbled to hear that. But I think I want to be as useful as possible to the country in the area of mathematics especially, analysis of data, developing models, of course not me alone, with other people, with other experts, to help move our country forward. Support technology, support science in our country, so that at least in the few years to come, we can stand up and say we are competitive.
You know, Professor, I will tell you, I consider it a joke because people have not heard you.
Yeah.
And when the advert started going of the speakers during our conference, one interesting cabinet viewer said, Pastor Chulu, you promised to bring people that will teach us how to rear pigs.
Yeah.
These professors, they don't even have farms. Why are you bringing them?
Oh.
So we are used to people who tell us how dogs move and what.
Yeah.
But not to preempt. If the cabinet viewers, those that are coming, I'm not saying that you talk about what you are going to lecture. Little do they have the knowledge that we need as a nation.
Yeah.
And for you to be one of the speakers at the cabinet conference, Zambia doesn't know. Some people may not know what privileges that you men are bringing to this nation. And this is where I appreciate education.
True.
Because it's easy for me to just bring some farmer somewhere and tell you how much money you are making, but with no knowledge of the...
Yeah, that's interesting. Yes, if you look at things on the surface, you can really think that, oh, that professor, what is he going to talk about? But, you know, like I've said, mathematics is so applied, so applicable to so many areas. As a farmer, if you are serious with your farming, you can't do without numbers. You have to, first of all, understand, project, and if possible, even create models that can inform you in terms of success of your crop. The big farmers that you see that have succeeded, in the background, they use statistics. They will appear like they do walking in shorts, driving in town. You think they're just farmers. Not at all. They are successful because they use statistics, mathematics, science. Take, for example, our way of farming. You'll find that a lot of us just go to the farm. Oh, this is the farm, and you start planting. You don't even know what is in the soil. At the end of the day, the crop dies, the crop doesn't do well. You need a scientist who will come there, pick the soil samples, analyze it, and then tell you what you can grow there. And these scientists, all of them, you can look at those that do soil science, soil engineering, you can look at mathematicians with statistics and so on. It's all science. So even if we are professors and we want to talk at the agribusiness, pay attention to what we say. What is it that we are going to tell you that will change your life? That's very important. And in our country here, a lot of times we do things without analysis. We just do it. Just make a road here. Just start farming here. Just build a school here without analysis. And I think we are there, some of us who are privileged to have this technique and tools to help in terms of analysis of information before a decision is made.
I'll tell you something, and I'm so glad. We'll go back to the Center of Excellence.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad, Professor, we are dealing with one Jewish person who is part of, you know, I've spoken to you about this.
Yes.
Who is out of the country, is in Jerusalem, and part of Camnet,
Yeah.
and where we are going. And we are also dealing with a Jewish person who is right now in the country.
Yeah.
Both of these people, including the man in the States, when they hear the vision that we want to bring, it's not just bringing. The other time, Professor, I issued a statement that there are a lot of agriculture cadres who don't even understand anything. Like you are saying, they just say, we can make money.
Right.
We can do this
Yeah.
without scientific knowledge.
Yeah.
But realizing the weight that is on my shoulder and that of my wife and the team,
Yeah.
that we help the president, we help the government, we help Zambia
Correct. Yeah.
to come to a sustainable agriculture program where even other nations will envy us.
Yes.
I tell you, we can't do without you people.
Yeah.
This is why those that are coming for the conference,
Yeah.
they will see a difference
Yes.
from another aspect
Yeah.
of agriculture.
Exactly.
But that said, these two Jewish people, they've insisted, Pastor Chiluba, we want information from you. Give us the soil analysis of every province in Zambia.
Exactly.
One is in Jerusalem, one is in Zambia. They don't even know each other.
But they're asking for
They
the
are
same.
Jews. They are Jewish people.
Yeah.
They are asking for the soil analysis
Yeah.
in all the 10 provinces.
Exactly. Exactly.
Secondly,
Yeah.
they are asking for the rain pattern, weeks and months,
Exactly.
the
Exactly.
depth and whatever.
Yes.
Now, I've never, I just thought it was just growing.
It's also important to have information,
Yeah.
quantitative information for that matter, and analyze that information and see what is it that it is telling you. What is the information telling you? And to do that, we need to be educated. We need to know certain techniques, mathematical tools, so that when we know what the information is telling us, we are able to infer from there. You know, inference simply means making decisions out of the information that you have. So you'll be able to tell that, oh, in this region I can grow watermelon, or I can grow sugar, I can grow so and so. But imagine you go to a region where, you know, the soil doesn't support a particular crop and you grow that crop. Then you are wasting time and resources. And I think as a country we must even learn to ensure that each province we have data in terms of what is in the soil. What is in the soil? So that when we advise people what to grow in a particular province, we'll be telling them to grow the crops that can be supported by those soils.
As a matter of fact, Professor, what you have just alluded to,
Yeah.
I've seen since we started promoting agriculture, everyone wants, Pastor, I want castor.
Yeah.
Pastor, I want mangoes. Pastor, you talk about papaya. Anything we bring here with my wife, it's goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we have realized, like
Yeah.
you said,
Yeah.
these Jewish people are saying, you can't grow every, including Professor Reda.
Yes.
You know, Professor Reda is an asset to this nation.
He is. He is.
He will tell you, Pastor, before I visit this farm, I need to understand the soil analysis in there.
Exactly. Exactly.
But each one of us,
Yeah.
we just want to make money.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day,
Yeah.
people will blame my wife and I and Camnet TV
Yeah.
that you spearheaded something
Yeah.
and we are not making money.
Yeah.
And that is the fear I have.
Yes. But you know, Pastor, you can also advise people, especially those that are in Lusaka. Mount Makulu is available. There are some young boys there, young men who are very good at soil analysis. So if you are in Lusaka, you can make a date with them. They'll come to your farm, collect the soil samples, and analyze. UNZA also has capacity to do that. I remember I took some soil samples some time back there. So our people should realize that there are institutions with knowledge, with the know-how, to help them understand what is in their soils so that they can choose the appropriate crops to grow.
Yeah, but
I am a victim, Pastor, of just growing. My friends laugh at me. I was growing watermelon, and 5 times I failed. Until I went to Mount Makulu, these young men came, picked up the soils, and they analyzed, and they told us what was missing. At least now we can say we are relatively succeeding. So using science to do something is cardinal.
And that is my desire, Professor, that we should not miss it.
No, we shouldn't.
One of the things that I fear in life is to fail. I don't like failing because it doesn't feel nice.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this one, we want people outside to say thank you for Zambia.
Right, right.
I have been at certain places, Professor, in South Africa. I see this white man, 10 kilometers farm, and they are doing, there isn't anything special, which we can't do here.
Not at all.
There is,
not at all.
We can do what they are doing.
Yes.
You know?
You know, one of the things that I've learned about these successful people is that they pay attention to detail.
To details, yeah.
They pay attention to detail. They pay attention to analysis. They pay attention to information. What is the information telling them? What can they change to suit what the information is telling them? You can't just succeed by chance. Not at all. You have to pay attention to detail. You have to look at the factors at hand, what they're telling you, and using good tools to analyze those factors or the information, to extract important or salient features from that information for your use in terms of decision making. So that even when things fail, you'll be able to go back and say, oh, perhaps it's because I overlooked that type of information, or because maybe the pattern was like this, and so on. So we Zambians need to learn to pay attention to detail when we're doing things. We need to collect adequate information when we're doing things. That information needs to be properly analyzed using proper tools, using experts before we can do things. Failure is as a result of lack of information and lack of analysis, actually.
You know, you will be with your fellow Professor Munkumba.
Yes.
The enormous experience he has, the banks he has transformed, and the agriculture sector in Tanzania and around the world. And here, somebody says Professor Munkumba will be one of the speakers. They have no idea of the scientific facts. You know, it's easy for me to bring somebody from Shambarakare. You know, we like that as
yes, we do.
But we have no knowledge, and the Bible says, my people perish because of lack of knowledge.
Yes.
So what we are doing, Professor, I am so glad, because each time I sit down with you in our team and I listen to what you are saying, I wish the whole Zambia could be in the same room and they are hearing something about how we can take agriculture to another level.
I am humbled.
You know, I am so fascinated about you people and the knowledge. And I'm just praying that President Edgar Lungu and the cabinet ministers who will be there, the permanent secretaries, may come to this conference and see what Zambia has.
Yes.
I've told the people that I'm not going to record, I'm not going to put it on video. If you can't come to the conference, that's okay, you know. So, Professor, I want you to know that my wife and I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we want to offload this knowledge to the whole nation.
I'm humbled. I'm humbled. I feel humbled.
Let's go back, because this one I may be tempted to ask you certain questions about farming, and you start lecturing again the things that are missing here.
Yes.
But I won't be tempted. Let's go back to the Center of Excellence.
Yeah.
Can anyone just come and enroll? Do you have a school, or how do you go about it? Because I'm asking this, Professor, my wife and I are partnering with people who are successful, like
Right.
you.
Thank you.
When CAMNET sits like now,
Yeah.
we want to tell the people to say Ubututu. You know, am I literate, Professor? I like what my wife says. At Shikaluba, my firstborn is Kaluba. She says, Abatutu bala nashia. She likes using that way.
Kwena Chachina, it's true.
She says, Abatutu bala nashia.
Yeah, thank you. The center, the main objective of the center is to enhance mathematics in the country. We have been developing programs to help parents interest their children in mathematics. I'll talk about that a little later. We also give tuition to people who are writing maybe grade 9, grade 12 exams. We give tuition to people who are first-year university, that's college mathematics. We give tuition to people who are doing MBA. There are a lot of people who are doing MBAs from all over, and they have problems with quantitative methods. So we start them up so that as they go to learn quantitative methods in the universities, they will have the basics. Because, you know, the semester system that they're experiencing is quite short. So they go in there and they find that, in fact, they don't have the basics. We offer that. We also help those that are doing PhD research, quantitative research methods, just to explain to them how they can interpret data. First of all, how they can collect data, the methods they can use to collect data, and how they can summarize the data and interpret the data. The PhD and MSc or master's degrees students. Apart from that, we do business statistics to help institutions just and have the basics, especially the CEOs, the basics about the data pertaining to the things that they do in their institutions. Basically to help them make decisions, informed decisions based on data. We are also designing courses for insurance companies using predictive analytics. This is just to help them if they have information about their database. Can they be able to see the pattern of either behavior or whatever it is, variable that you are looking at, of their customers, and then from there they can be able to say, we are so certain to a certain extent that these customers will come back to our institutions. That's insurance companies. For banks, we have econometrics for them to understand just how to do econometrics pertaining to the information that they have. And also, we have models to explain what they call expected credit loss for banks. And yes, we intend to grow. We intend to employ young people with sound minds in science so that they can help us help the nation enhance mathematics. More importantly, we are also concerned with reskilling the teachers, mathematics teachers, because I think that most people, when you ask them why they didn't do mathematics, they'll point to the teacher. That he was horrible, he was what, he didn't know, he was teasing us, and so on. So we have a program to reskill teachers, mathematics teachers, so that they can know methods of teaching and learning mathematics at all levels, depending on whether they're in the kindergarten, Yeah. Now, coming to parents, do you know what you can do to make your child like mathematics? It's not a researched method, but it's a method that I use myself on my children. First of all my children have no problems with mathematics. Absolutely no problem at all.
Really?
Yeah. One of them is actually planning to major in mathematics. Now, what did I do? Pastor, do you know that you can teach a child mathematics at birth? From the hospital, you get home, your wife brings the baby home, you start teaching mathematics. How? You agree with me that when the baby comes home, everybody starts talking to the baby. Is that true? Yeah, like hello, oh, ta ta ta, things like that. You are teaching that child a language. Why not instead teach mathematics? This is what I did. When the babies come home, 1 month old, I start counting to them. Each time I'm with a baby, I count 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. After 2 weeks, you'll be surprised. Each time you count, the baby will smile.
Really?
Yes. When the child starts talking, you write your numbers, or maybe on cards and so on, maybe just 1 up to 5. You start teaching them how to count. Each time you mention 1, you show them what 1 is, what 2 is, up to 5. Later on, when they've learned, you now take it up to 10. So when you say 1, they will see what 1 is. They associate the sound with the symbol 1. After that, you start picking them at random. Then you know the child has learned. You pick a 10, you pick a 2, you pick a 3, you pick a 4. When they're about 5 years old, you must be consistent. You put objects on the floor. It could be whatever. I used to use about 7 objects, and then we count those objects. 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 7, and we laugh. Wow, 7. I remove 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, 5. You remove 3. 1, 2. You remove everything. Ah, nothing, and you laugh. You again start. 2, and so on and so on. Do you know what you are teaching there? You are teaching the concept of addition. So this child, when they go to school, and the teacher says 2 plus 5, it's nothing. Because they already have it. So I'm urging parents who have babies to start teaching mathematics to babies, as I've explained. It works.
Just in case my children, our firstborn daughter, she has 3 children. Our second-born, she has 2. Yeah. In case they are not watching this program, I'm going to collect.
No, they can come.
my grandchildren tomorrow.
I can tell them. And a lot of parents that have taught this have said that it works. Apart from that, wherever you go, please count objects. Let the child count objects. If you go to a car park and this child is able to count up to 10, and there are 7 cars, please ask the child to count. How many cars? Oh, 7. You laugh over it. How many trees? Whatever is countable and manageable by the child, make sure the child does it. Even when you are driving, ask the child, how many houses are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. This enhances the interest in math. So when they encounter mathematics in class, it's nothing.
My goodness. So simple.
Simple.
And yet so powerful. Yes. Huh? Because that's how we learn to professor. Yeah. If we toilet that.
Yeah.
You remember?
Not to Bokiri, you know.
Not to Pendelo. Yes. And when I started school, takwali ama book. Tuwalele mbapa maslate. Yes. First tuambile panshi. Okay. Eropa maslate. But ingaba kupela 2 plus 5. Wow. Yeah. Now you have given me a nice concept. Yeah. So you can actually scale it up. Yes. In teaching the child. Yeah. Even before they are 10 years, they can become mathematicians.
At birth, yes. Like in my household, I don't multiply big figures. My children do it. So when it comes to multiplication table, don't end at 12 times 12 and you stop. No. Children have capacity to learn up to 30 times 30, even 40 times 40.
Really?
If you ask my daughter and say, oh, 17 times 25, she will tell you, not that she's clever.
Without using a calculator?
Without using a calculator. She knows it because that's what she went through. So I only urge parents to do these things to their children. Don't sympathize with a child thinking, oh no, this is too hard. Children have immense capabilities to learn and to learn mathematics. So let's take advantage of that. Teach our children mathematics. Let's not compute. Let's not use calculators. Ask them. When we go to shop, I don't calculate the change. I don't add. I ask the children, what is this? Then they start struggling. They want to impress me. They want to show that they know. In the process, they are expanding their minds mathematically. So all parents, I urge them to use this technique. It works.
Professor,
Yeah.
you know where mathematics, especially us Zambians, or should I say Africans,
Yes.
we are so good at teaching our children. We just know we just know how to count money. That's the mathematics that has remained.
Yes.
But no wonder, listening from your explanations, no wonder most Africans are at where we are at, because we don't apply the scientific part of our learning.
In fact, I have to say here that each environment you go to has mathematics around it. What is important is to identify that mathematics. And I've always believed, and we are going to do this at the center, that if you are in an environment and you understand the mathematics there, it is very easy for you to go and start understanding the formal mathematics in school. What am I talking about? For example, you are in the village. A child must know why they cook so much ishima compared to the other family. A child will know that there are so many people in the village, there are so many houses in the village, there's only one river, there are so many trees as I go to the river. Oh, they are making, what do you call ubutala in English?
These are silos?
Yeah, kind of, the village ones. You see that thing they make the roof on top? That's a cone. That's mathematical. Okay? So really, each environment has mathematics that each child or each person in that community needs to be aware of. When you're aware of that mathematics, and you go to learn formal mathematics, x plus something is equal to what? It will be very easy for you to relate. The problem we have is that we ignore the existing mathematics in our environment, including our homes, and then send a child to learn mathematics, x plus something, and that child finds it hard to assimilate. Why? Because that child was not deliberately introduced to the mathematics in the environment. Yeah.
Is it wrong then for people to be blaming the teachers and not us parents? We say, teacher obe chipuba. I always pay for you to. Is that a good expression?
No, it's not. I think parents are responsible to inducing interest of mathematics in children. They are totally responsible. Because after all, the first teacher to a child before the formal teacher is a parent. So it's up to the parent now to develop what characteristics a child should have, either in mathematics or whatever subject. What knowledge, what basic knowledge they should have before they go into school to meet with formal knowledge. So the parents are to blame if at all a child is not doing very well. Parents must take time to teach children mathematics. You need to be consistent. The mathematics you know, even if you don't like maths, is enough, is very, very much enough to induce a lot of interest in mathematics in children. You don't need to be a professor in mathematics. You have lived a life of mathematics. You've been adding, you've been subtracting. And these are the things a child needs to know before they go into school. And all of us must be held responsible. So in Zambia, for example, if people are listening to me and we take this seriously, in 10 years' time, 90% of our pupils will be mathematicians. They will like mathematics.
Oh, Jehovah. No wonder this is not just another channel. Having you here, Professor, I feel like we are able to eliminate illiteracy from our society.
Definitely.
I didn't have the privilege, I've said this countless times, Professor, I didn't have the opportunity because of the background of my parents to further my academics. But growing up, I wanted to be a medical doctor because of the brains God has given me to understand issues. But financially, my parents could not afford. But what I have noticed and what I've been teaching with my wife is academics. I'll tell you a story. Many years ago, one young man, okay, I'm teaching at Evelyn College. Not as a lecturer, but at church, in church. Just like all the church members, I give them practical lessons that if you cannot be great in this world, I don't know. I'm teaching, guys, go back to school. Education is this, all the time. One young man says, this is too much. He was a primary school teacher. He went to Nkuruma, got a diploma. He went to university, got a degree. He went to UK to do his master's. He did his PhD. Now, when he was doing his PhD, my wife and I are working in central London. And this man comes from this, I didn't know him. I mean, that's London. He crisscrosses us, goes back again, is checking, who is this lady with the pastor? He has known me, but you know my wife looks young. And he says, this girl with the pastor. So the third time, he stops. And he says, Daddy, how are you? You know, I've been crisscrossing you when I just noticed that Abani Bamayo. That's why I've stopped. I said, so Lela na didn't have Maku Zambia. So we laugh. And the young man says, Pastor Chiluba, without your emphasis on education, I will not be in London. I am now doing the thesis for my PhD. And your names are there with Pastor Chiluba. Do you know that that young man, Professor, works for World Bank? A Zambian.
That's very good.
Because of sitting under my wife and I, one of the senior most in World Bank, a Zambian. He was a primary school teacher.
In fact, if I may interject, you've just mentioned very important. You know, we have a lot of Zambians who are working in very powerful institutions in the world.
Really?
Yes. We have a lot. I personally know a friend. There are many. There are many. I don't know whether I'm allowed to mention their names here, but there are many.
No, you are not.
Yeah, there are many who are working in very, very big institutions, and they are succeeding tremendously. The problem is here, we don't have the environment for that. And yet, really, if we are focused to develop science, technology, and our economy, we need to create a conducive environment to harness these brains. They can come here and think, relate things that have never been related before, understand things that have never been understood before. That way we can move.
Professor, let me mention this. Like you are saying, my cousin that I talked about, he was a metallurgist at Incana many years ago. Expatriates would come. He starts teaching the expatriates. Here. He's teaching them, he's teaching them.
Yeah.
Few months, they are getting $10,000. He's getting 600 kwacha.
Yeah.
He quit Nkana out of frustration.
Yes.
Because he did not understand how he would be
Yes.
teaching
Yes.
expatriates,
Yes.
and they are getting more money
Yeah.
than him.
Yeah.
He quits, goes to England. The fella is overlooking a group of about 350 whites
You see?
under him.
Yeah.
He's a boss.
Yes.
And giving them, and he says, Pastor Chiluba, we went there with my wife. He says, look at this newspaper.
Yeah.
You see, these are the people that I teach.
Yeah.
But because I'm black,
Yeah.
have you seen where I'm standing? They put my junior to speak because it's an embarrassment for a black to come and speak on these breakthroughs. And yet behind it is a Zambia.
Yeah. You know, I've always discussed with friends on an issue of success. You know, as Zambians, or even as individuals, no one will choose us. We have to choose ourselves. As a country, we have to choose ourselves to succeed. And when we do, that's a very big responsibility to ourselves. Which responsibility? Make sure that you are doing the right things. Educate your people. Create an environment for success. Have confidence in your experts. Have confidence in yourselves. Realize that this country as it is complete. It's got everything you need. You don't need to look out there. You just need to look within. We have to choose ourselves. Nobody will choose us. If we continue on the path where we are, where we think only that person can do,
foreigners will come and help us. Yeah.
We won't go anywhere. We need to choose ourselves. Even at individual level, success doesn't mean that other people, they can help, but you have to choose yourself mentally. And you have to prepare yourself to work hard as an individual to succeed. By the way, when you have a group of people, say 10, and you have 8 of them successful, wouldn't you say that group is successful? Yes. So that's what we need. But that can only happen when we start choosing ourselves. We start capacitating institutions that are in the forefront of developing, what can I say, like academic institutions, colleges and so on, that are developing manpower for the country. We have to start equipping those. Hospitals and everything. We are complete, and we need to know that. Nobody will know that for ourselves. Once we know that, then we make bold decisions to choose ourselves. We must choose ourselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we have to choose ourselves. Nobody will choose us. All people that come here, they want our resources. Because we have in abundance.
When I say that, Professor, I've had people who have phoned me when I say that don't expect foreigners to develop Zambia.
They can't.
They say, Pastor, you are not a tribalist, but you are racial and all this. But what I believe in, Professor, is that if you don't believe in me, I can't believe in you. This country won't move forward.
Certainly.
Why should we have a foreigner who is a captain to direct your affairs and my affairs? Why not let him teach us and give us the opportunity to move forward? That's what I believe in.
Yeah, in fact, you know, when we talk about choosing ourselves, we are not even saying no foreigners. No, we are not saying that. We can't exist on our own. We need to learn from other institutions. Other countries. Choosing yourself simply means developing confidence in yourself, taking your life, you know, taking responsibility of your destiny as a country, knowing very well that other people come in, but they shouldn't be the main players. You are the main player. You are directing because you know where you want to go. Choosing yourself doesn't mean getting rid of foreigners, not at all. They play a very important role in terms of knowing what is new, in terms of knowing new knowledge, in terms of knowing how other cultures, you know, look at certain problems, how they solve particular problems, and so on. So choosing yourself doesn't mean you are saying no foreigners. So I thought I should clarify that.
Yeah, no, I hear you, because going back again, I want you to understand this, Professor, and the nation out there. When my cousin, the same one who is in the UK, talked about, he said, Pastor Chiluba, way back, I'm talking about 1989, 1990, he said, you know, Pastor Chiluba, if the president can give us the opportunity as Zambian graduates, the sand we have here in Zambia, we can be making TV screens. You know, as a metallurgist, those are his specialty. He says the best TV screen, there is nothing to this TV. We can start exporting. All we need is for the government to bring the equipment and the technology. We have it. Secondly, he said to me, look at Lusaka, the whole Lusaka. The stone you have, we can produce cement to export to any country in the world. I was just thinking of Chilanga cement. Now Sonoma comes. China is producing some of the biggest cement. Dangote comes. He talked about that if Zambians, we can just come together. We can do this. Think of the brains we are losing in you and in a lot of... This is where my heart bleeds.
I thought you could even mention copper. We have so much. You know, Pastor, one of the things that I feel lacks in our lives as Zambians is a term I call ownership. Ownership. When you have a society that owns their country, they will never allow anyone to tamper with it. Just like in your home. There are things that you own that you can't allow somebody to come in there and destroy. The culture of ownership is very, very important for a country to go forward. In the sense that if you truly, truly own your country as an individual and severally, you will never allow anyone to come and maybe cut trees, mine anyhow, pollute rivers, mistreat your workers, your citizens. You won't allow, because your ownership is so strong that you don't want anything to be destroyed that you own. So the culture of ownership is lacking in some of our people, including our leaders. Because if you own, you truly own, you feel this is my country. There's no way you can pay lip service to important issues. There's no way you can allow things to degenerate without making decisions to rectify those things. So ownership, in my view, is something that makes a leader a true leader. Ownership by individuals, citizens, ownership of their country will help them protect what is in the country. Do Zambians protect things around? We don't.
No.
That's why, Pastor, even on the streets you are driving, somebody will just cut in. We don't respect each other. Ownership comes with responsibility. These are my people. I can't mistreat them. These are my resources. I can't allow somebody to abuse them. I have a responsibility to take my country to a certain destiny. That's ownership.
You know, Professor, what you are saying, this is, I'm so grateful for CAMNET. I have had, with my wife, we have had people who have sent messages here. They see one guest on CAMNET TV. It's not one person or two. This is why when I'm introducing people, I say we are a family.
Yes.
I've had people who have sent messages to my wife and I to say, please don't bring that speaker on CAMNET TV, because this station of ours, we don't want to be messed around.
Okay.
Now, they are speaking like they are directors or shareholders, but just what I like is their sense of ownership.
Yeah.
To say we must maintain certain things. And if we can behave like you are saying, I'll be using that term, if you don't mind, ownership.
Ownership.
Because for me, I always tell the president, I tell the presidents I've sat with, I tell everyone, empower Zambians. empower Zambians. But I like the term you are using, ownership. Once we have this sense of saying, this is my country, we are going to go far.
In fact, if you are in any leadership position, I've been in leadership position, you know, as I mentioned, ask yourself whether you own. Your behavior, does it show that you own? If it doesn't, please own. And when you own, you know what to do.
Absolutely.
If you own, you protect what is around you for the good. If you own. So ownership, in my view, is something that can help a lot of us realize how we need to protect our country, how we need to support ourselves, how we need to create wealth for ourselves, because we own. Our survival depends on ourselves. So we should ask ourselves, wherever we are we on? Are we owning? Look at the way we look at copper. I drive a lot on Great North Road. There are trucks and trucks and trucks of copper. There's no ownership. People just look at copper going and so on. Well, economists will tell you this and that. But for how long will it take, if we truly own our country, how long will it take for us to realize that we need to process that copper here? We need to process so many other minerals that we have and other natural resources within here for our own good. For our own good. We only realize that when we own. Ownership.
Professor, we are going to take a brief break.
Thank you.
A brief break, and I'll just ask my director to play our advert about the conference.
Yes.
And the phones will be opened. But I want to ask a question before we go on break.
Yes.
On Sunday, I issued a statement that if you are a Zambian and you don't own land, don't even call yourself a Zambian.
Right.
You are a foreigner.
Right.
Because I believe that the battle between Palestinians and Israel is not money.
It's land.
It is land.
It's land. It's land.
And for about 2 years now, as you have seen on Camnet TV, my wife and I are pushing because we have nothing to hold on to. Companies are sold and all this, and I'm encouraging the people, get land. Because once we have land, someday we will survive. Do you think that's a good thing?
It's a very, very important thing. In fact, it borders on what I term awareness. You know, when you are not aware of anything, you can't do anything. If you are not aware of value of your country, or value that land has, or value of taking certain actions, if your levels of awareness are low, there's nothing you can do. So it's very important for our people to be aware of what is valuable. Only then will they say, oh, land is important and I'll get land. Or we must process our copper because they are aware of the value and what it can do to the country. So I would like to agree with you that people need to develop high levels of awareness of the value of what we have, including land, and go ahead and own land. So awareness is another issue that we need to dwell on as Zambians, develop it so much to the highest level so that we know what we have.
Professor, I'm so thankful to the Lord. We will talk about this. I don't know what to do, but in a small way, my wife and I, through Camnet, are trying to sensitize the Zambians. I know we may not be heard, but somebody somewhere...
I think you are being heard. Camnet. Because like even that advert that has been going on, I've been getting so many calls saying, oh, we saw you, which is an indication that people are seeing. And people listen. And by the way, if there's a void in society, society can take any direction. But if there's a word of wisdom in that society, society will move according to that word. So that's why it's very important for leaders like yourselves and other leaders to come forward and continuously talk about good things for our country. Then our society will be shaped accordingly. But if there's nobody talking, it can be anything. We can degenerate to unprecedented levels of cannibalism, of animalism, or something like that. So for leaders like yourselves who have these facilities, it's very important to continuously talk about what is important for our country. People out there do listen.
Dear Camnet TV viewers, my wife and I are grateful to host this great man, Professor Musongole. And those of you who are coming for the conference, I assure you, I always say this is not just a mere conference. I'm not just wanting to get you into agriculture, make money. You hear me calculating here. We must do it right. I'm going to allow our director to give us that advert. Afterwards, immediately the phone lines will be open and you are free to direct your questions to Professor here. I realize that we don't have much time. We needed 5 hours.
Okay.
But keep watching Camnet TV, because Camnet TV is not just another channel. We'll see you after this advert.
The much awaited for Camnet conference is now scheduled for May 2021 with your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
We have believed that every Zambian was born for greatness, and that you and I can contribute to the development of this nation.
The big questions to ask are: can Zambia develop through agriculture? Can we produce indigenous Zambian millionaires? Plan not to miss this national conference on empowering Zambians through agriculture knowledge. Dates: 28th to 29th May 2021. Time: 0730 hours to 1630 hours. Venue: the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Charges: 950 kwacha, lunch inclusive for both days. Payments through via mobile money on 0962 965 883 or 0979 753 010, or you can pay via Stanbic Bank account number 91 3000 1825 325. Speakers will be Professor Reda.
We need Zambia to be one of the best nations in Africa.
Professor Munkumba.
If you just listen to a lecture, you may remember hardly anything. In 2 weeks' time, it's all gone. If you read, you may remember 10% of what you've read. If you participate in a discussion, 50% retention of the knowledge. So I always tell people, knowledge is the only thing that when you share it, you don't lose it.
Professor Musongole.
Agriculture can actually solve our unemployment for our youth. Through exports, agricultural exports, we can also stabilize our foreign exchange.
Honorable Bob Chinga.
When you do a budget, you plan it so that all the sectors, especially those that could give you low-lying fruits, in other words, you can achieve a lot with it, are the first things you do first.
And biologist Kamweneshe.
If we came together and put our hands together and concentrate on the soil. The people in Kenya, these Swahili people say, Dongo ni mali, means soil, that's money.
Register your participation through Camnet lines. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
This is Camnet TV World News. For a prompt response, call +2609 53 995 099 or +2609 62 444 726 or +2609 711 77467. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Dear Camnet TV viewers, welcome to this Monday's edition of National Matters. Zambia is our country, and you were born for greatness. Never forget that. In the studio with me is Professor Musongole, and what he has said speaks volumes, that as Zambians, we need to develop a sense of ownership. Nobody will come and make you better except yourself. Professor, as we are waiting for the phone calls, because now the lines are open, the economy, people are blaming the economy, it's not good, it's not what.
Yeah.
Through agriculture,
Yeah.
can we fix this economy?
Certainly, certainly. You know, agriculture is the mother of all industries. And again, I'll go back to ourselves. We have this tendency of pointing a finger at somebody to fix the economy while we are sleeping in our homes. Economics, or the economy of a country, can only develop if each one of us gets involved in economic activities. I know there are other challenges. Other people say, oh no, there's no money, there's no that policy, there's no. But do you know my philosophy? There are no problems but opportunities.
I like that.
Yeah,
when you hear me using that, don't say Pastor Bamufile.
How you believe in that as well?
There are what? Please say it again.
There are no problems but opportunities. It's what you think. If you think that the president will fix the economy for you to start working, you wait for that time. But the other way around is to have own responsibility to contribute to that economy, to start doing certain activities. Then you'll be contributing to the entire economic activities or to the entire economy. So basically, we must stop this sense of depending at government is anganapo. Anganapo bwanji. How? How many are we?
18 million.
Yeah. So each one of us in our small corners, we must gather the resources that we have and start working. And agriculture is one area that we can all contribute and contribute effectively to the growth.
I know you have facts and figures that you'll be offloading to the nation of Zambia.
True.
And I wish the ministers could attend this conference. Yes. I wish the members of parliament and all well-meaning Zambians could attend this.
Yes.
Because this could be a game changer for our economy.
Correct.
This conference.
Exactly, because the figures are going to show them just where we are as Zambia. Then the figures also show the potential we have and the opportunities that are out there.
So there are no problems, only opportunities.
Only opportunities.
You know what you have said, Professor? A group of people are going, the children of Israel, horses behind, Pharaoh's men, the mountain on this side, another mountain this side. They start crying to Moses. Why did you bring us here? Because the Red Sea was in front. Moses looked at the opportunity of killing those soldiers in one act of them drowning. But they were crying. And this is what the foreigners have. You should notice that right now Zambia, even in Zimbabwe and in Malawi, when the economies are bad, the foreigners are like this. They are seeing what we nationals don't see. And they are not complaining. Why is it so? Why is it so, Professor?
I think that they see a lot of opportunities here, the foreigners. They see a lot. In fact, if you've taken note, if there are some statistics that we can talk about, a lot of foreigners that come here, just takes 2 years. They are well up and running.
Some even 1 year.
Yeah, and make no mistake, of course, there are some people that come with money here. But there are examples of people who come with very little money or no money. But because of the prevailing environment, opportunities, they make it. Us Zambians, we are waiting for somebody to help us because there's a problem, because of no capital, because this is true. I'm not saying that it's not true. It is true that sometimes you need capital. But like Dr. Kachaka said when he was training us last week, you can start where you are.
But you know, Professor, me personally, I don't believe that for me to succeed, I need millions of money.
Right.
This is what my mind tells me.
Yeah.
I can tell you that my wife and I, together with our church, we began Cabinet TV with 2 cameras.
There you are.
2 cameras. We just bought.
There are so many cameras here.
2 cameras. And we switched on the signal.
Yeah.
What is there is the message.
Correct.
What is there is to help the people.
Yeah.
But you find somebody has 100 hectares of land and saying, I want money. And this is why this conference, some of the things that, as you know, we are going to review to the people attending, some of them will feel like, why have I been like this for a long time?
Exactly.
You don't need money.
Exactly.
I was speaking to a Jewish person. We had a lunch some 2-3 days ago on Friday.
Yeah.
And he says, Pastor Chiluba, I like your program.
Yeah.
I like what you are doing in this nation. His words, I told my wife.
Yeah.
He said, Pastor Chiluba, your station and yourselves are an asset to this nation. If they pay attention to what you are doing, this is a Jew.
Yeah.
He says it will take 3 years. Zambia will be out of all the problems.
Exactly.
Oh, let's pick up this call. Hello? Hello? Good evening, sir. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Muganga from Kabwe.
Please speak a little bit louder.
My name is Muganga from Kabwe.
Mr. Mubanga from Kabwe.
Yes.
Please go ahead and speak to the nation.
Greetings, Pastor. Greetings, Professor Mtongole.
Greetings.
Greetings, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mambanga.
Yes, I'm happy to hear from Professor Mtongole. We are together in practice, I'm sure. Long time we are ahead of us. Very, very interesting. I hope I will attend the conference.
Thank
God
you.
bless.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It says you were together many years
At
ago.
Mungu, yes.
At
Mungu Secondary School.
At Mungu Secondary
Yes,
School.
yes, I think so, yeah.
He says you were very intelligent. You are still. And he says he wishes he could attend the conference.
Now,
What would you say to the people who are looking at us and they don't know what we have prepared for the conference?
I think it will be very, very important to come to the conference because it will be an eye-opener in a lot of areas as far as agriculture is concerned. Talking about what you can do, talking about opportunities that are available, the potential that Zambia has. I think it will be a very, very big eye-opener. And I urge everyone to really come and listen to the speakers. This is a conference that is very unique. I don't think we've had something like this.
Not to my knowledge. We had one at Government Complex and we went to Kitwe and we came back here. But this one in nature, I think it's the first in this
its kind.
Of its kind, and this is why I'm so grateful to God for what is happening. Hello? Good evening. Oh. If there are text messages, Mr. Director, we can take that. while we are waiting and for the call. Those of you that are watching Professor and I, dear Zambia, please let's come together. I know you may not make it, the building may not allow us, but we are not going to disclose the things that God has prepared for this Zambia. I promise you, if you are in Luwingu, you are in Mongu. I know somebody called from Kasempa and said, Pastor, I'm attending this conference. And some two gentlemen from Livingstone. Don't let this moment pass you by. You are going to learn something for the first time with knowledge. We have people like Professor Msongole, Professor Reda, biologist Kamwenesha. My goodness. Hello, good evening. Good evening. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Is that Pastor Chiluba?
Yes, sir. What's your name and where you calling us from?
I'm the Professor Msongole.
Yes, I'm with Professor Msongole.
Yes, I'm Manjomba Jonathan.
Jonathan Manjomba.
Yes.
From where, sir?
From the northwestern farm in Ilunga by Nepo Harbour.
Oh, you are a blessing. Please go ahead and contribute something to the nation. You were born for greatness, Mr. Manjomba.
For sure, Pastor Chiluba. Yeah, we keep enjoying your program. We normally watch your program with my wife.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's quite motivating.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, mostly, you know, when we were born, when you, our parents, were actually there for us, we got to learn that education is the key to success. But it's turning out the opposite.
That.
It is the innovation which is the key to success now. Not the education which is the key to success. So we followed one of your programs which was on castor oil grower. So when we followed out that program,
yes, sir.
me and my wife actually said that we need to go into this program. How do we start? From there on, we decided to apply for some land from a chiefdom, a land which the chief had consented and conversion was done through the council. And it is at the stage to lease of land, which is 50 hectares, that we intend to actually do an outgrower on castor oil. Now we cannot go ahead without your advice, so we needed to have your land so that we can constantly engage you and consult you and maybe grow together from your needs and try to see how that one will come to realization. Yeah, because we realized that I think the perspective and the way that you're taking us is the right way. Me and my wife actually both degree holders and I'm a master's degree holder. But we feel that the perspective that you are taking, I think, is the most right way, other than the educational way that we may take. That one may actually take us to greatness. So we intend to go with you, and we are actually giving some new ways and asking whether you can share with us your life, so that maybe in a bit while we can always actually consult you and see how best we can go on. And when we grow this one, how big is the market and how are we going to grow our economy and wake up from the slumber of this poverty that is striking our nation and come out of the crying babies. Yes, Pastor.
Well, Jonathan, Mr. Manjomba, I'm so grateful for your contribution. Remember last week, if you watched my program on Thursday or Friday, I said that diversity is key. We began promoting this agriculture on Camnet TV, and I began inviting some speakers to open your minds up. I've brought people for fish, people for mangoes, people for avocado, I've brought chickens, I've brought everyone, including castor. I do that for variety purposes. You cannot have a country full of castor. It means we have a crisis, isn't it, Professor?
Yes.
Because there are so many crops that will give you money and fast. And like the Professor was saying, the area where you are, castor may not be the good crop. There may be something which these professors that God has brought together, including the Jewish people, who will be advising you, there could be something that will give you more money than castor, than anything. In Israel, Professor, I was speaking to the Jew. Yeah. I said, how much do you grow about castor? He says, well, we have castor there. But he was mentioning crops which are not even found in Europe, and Israel is making more money. And he said, Pastor Chuba, we go into this, your country will export more into Europe.
Right.
So it is just a variety that we have, Mr. Jonathan. I can tell you that as we settle down, we will be able to advise you properly. But my number is on the middle there, Jonathan. This number here, if you call it this one, 09629658883. We are in the studio now, but after this program, I'll have that. You can call me, you know, as long as you don't call me after midnight, I need to rest. You can call me, then we chat, you know. And by the special grace of God, this country needs diversity. Professor?
Yeah.
Did you hear what Jonathan said about education and innovation?
Yes. I agree with you, Jonathan, that we need innovation. But I wouldn't say that we don't need education. Innovation comes with the type of education that you have. So you must carefully select what type of education system that you are going to make your people go through, so that that type of education can expand people's minds to a level where they become innovative. It's not any type of education that will induce innovation in people, not at all. So the two go together. To develop thinking, you have to go through education. What type of education? That's why I strongly believe, Pastor, that we need to move to a situation where in a classroom, a teacher is asking a question that he or she doesn't know the answer. Not what we have today. The teacher knows the answer and is asking children. No. We need to move to that, where you are asking a question and yet you don't know the answer. So that together with the children or pupils or students, you can start brainstorming on the possible answers. That in itself creates critical thinking and leads to innovation. So education is important. It's the type of education that you go through that determines whether you can achieve innovation or critical thinking.
Thank you for that answer. May we have text messages, Mr. Director, if they are there? Let's have text messages. Calvary greetings. I'm really blessed with the program. The concept of mathematics by Professor. Really blessed. God bless you. Thank you, Daddy, for Camnet TV. Greater works. This is Muiza Chirwa from Luanshya. Somebody appreciating about the mathematics. Good evening, Pastor Chiluba and the Professor Musongole. I'm really enjoying your program, and it's quite progressive. Matthew Kamunema from Kabwe. Matthew, thank you so much for your time. Good evening, Pastor and the Professor. Thank you for the program. I've been looking forward to the conference since you had mentioned you would invite government officials and international experts. Suddenly, you are not mentioning the government officials and the international experts. Is this different conference? Okay, let me answer this question. Let me answer this question because a lot of people, Professor, are getting confused. Okay, let me pick up this. I'll answer you before you. Hello? Okay. Sir or Madam, let me tell you, government officials will be there. I'm talking about the speakers. Government officials will be there and they will speak at the conference. Now, when I mention about international people, there are certain things that we had put in place where Minister of Finance, Minister of Commerce, Minister of Agriculture needed to come together so that we agree on certain things. And these people we are working with, I keep mentioning, they just don't want to help Pastor Chiluba. They want to help the government. They want to help this nation. This is not a cheap conference. It is a conference where we want to take the nation, even financially, so that these cooperating partners from outside are able to work with us. Professor Musongole knows this. Yeah. He's sitting with us. We are planning this thing together. So don't force me to disclose when you don't hear me say the government officials, or you don't see, this PS will speak. Don't be deceived by those two terms. International people, government official, you are not mentioning. This is the same conference. And I want you to know, if you made up your mind to come, please come. Don't be deceived by government official, international people. You are hearing me saying the lunch with a Jew. We are communicating with Jerusalem. Is that Katuba? Anyway, may God bless you. Thank you, Mr. Director. Give us some phone calls. Camnet TV viewers, don't miss this conference. And the reason why I'm saying we are not going to record, because once we record and some people hear what you'll be teaching, they will go and start making videos and selling them and what. I don't believe in that. You come with your notes, you come, we share, you ask the questions, and you hear these men and some other government officials speak. But I'm not going to be forced to disclose, or this government official is coming, and this one. What I've just given you are the speakers. May the Lord bless you. And don't forget, you were born for greatness. Give us some more text messages, Mr. Director, before I turn back to Professor, asking him a pertinent question, which I feel, Professor, you must also help me to answer. Any text message, Mr. Director? No messages. Professor, I asked about turning around this economy.
Yeah.
Hello. Is it possible to develop multi-millionaires, individuals in Zambia through agriculture?
It is very possible. In fact, we've delayed.
We have delayed?
We've delayed, yes. Because if you look at, I don't know, have you visited Mukushi farm block?
No.
I think it's a must-go place. Mm. You're going to see that some farmers there actually have runways.
I was told about that.
Yes, they have runways. They have fields which when you look at, it's like touching the sky, the other side.
Really?
Yes. So when you talk about Zambians, I think it's a question of what we are and what we should focus on.
Oh, there is a call. Wait, hello?
Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
What's your name and where are you calling us from?
I'm Mr. Foloko.
Mr. Foloko?
Yes, I'm calling from Livingston.
Huh?
I am calling from Livingston.
Livingston.
Oh. Yes.
Mr. Foloko, go ahead and contribute to this debate.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something concerning our education. The type of education we have in South. Yeah, we are needing, the subject we are taking to find the subject
Wait, Mr. Foloko. Are you hearing?
Not so much. You are talking about 9 subjects?
You are not very clear. Maybe speak slowly. We are not getting you, and I'm sure the nation is not getting you. What are you saying, Mr. Foloko?
I'm talking of the kind of education we have in Ghana.
Yes.
Yes. I don't know, because last time I was hosting the program, where, like these are stories. The time to go to football, they will take that as a basket from the young age and choose a job with it. But as you in Zambia, when a child is good in football, then it doesn't go to maybe a law firm. With them, concentrate on something, but we forcing them on what they are not doing.
Yeah.
So that, I don't know exactly what to do. If you force someone to participate in what they are not doing, can we bring out good results as a country?
Yeah.
Of neglecting people's talent.
Yeah.
Because education means the competency to learning more in what you're doing. So
Yeah.
that was the thinking.
Thank you.
Forcing people to study what they are not interested in. And something like that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Foloko. That is a valid contribution. Have you heard?
Yes, I have.
That the education system in Zambia, we load it on boys and girls.
Yeah.
You need 6 points.
Yeah.
You need to have distinctions in all this. Maybe the child is only good in history.
Yeah.
Can't we develop a professor in history?
Yeah. Actually, even myself, I've thought about that. But I think that it boils down to what the nation wants to achieve. What is it that you want to achieve at the end of the day?
Academically.
Do you want people to end up with just an education? Or do you want to develop certain people with certain skills to the highest level, even when they just leave university or even in grade 12? So it depends on us. What is it that we want? For example, right now we have STEM schools. But when you go to a STEM school, you find that a child is taking 9 subjects. RE, history, social studies, and all, plus science. One would think that if you're focusing on STEM, it must be STEM. By the way, STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. I totally agree with him that we should not be scared as a country to discuss some of these things and make decisions in terms of what we are going to do, of course, based on what we want to achieve at the end of the day. Do we want strong historians? Do we want strong mathematicians? Do we want strong scientists? We have to make that decision. We have to discuss.
As a nation.
As a nation. But if we don't have a target to achieve, well, we'll adopt any type of education. As long as you've gone through that education, at the end of the day, you really can't contribute effectively to the country. There are a lot of people, Pastor, you may want to know, that have not gone to university because they failed history, because they failed English. And yet math in itself, you can do it to the highest level without really being proficient in English or in history or whatever subject. So it's up to us as a country to decide what we want. What do we want to achieve for this country? Should we continue with this type of education that, you know, puts a child under pressure to learn 9 subjects? Okay, people argue it's okay to learn 9, but in my view, and in some countries, right at the early age, they do identify what you are good at and develop you very quickly to a level where they want you to be to contribute significantly to the well-being of the country or in terms of science, or whatever it is that you want.
I met a professor in history, one of the world-renowned professors in Houston, Texas, from Harvard University, but he's a Christian.
Yes.
When I asked him about these other subjects, he says, oh, he did not concentrate on that. He concentrated on history. From Harvard.
Exactly.
He's a professor and one of the world-renowned historians.
Very true. Very true.
But here you must have all the 9.
Exactly. In fact, there are some countries I want to mention. You go there, you find that a boy or girl at 16 is a professor of mathematics.
Really?
Not that he's a genius, but he has gone through this progression very quickly. At 16, 17, 18, he is going to class to teach mathematics. Not even at primary school level or secondary, at university level. Why? Because he was given an opportunity to expand his mind in an area of interest to himself or herself. So as a country, we shouldn't be scared to discuss some of these things and make decisions, especially if we want to know, or we know, what we want to get out of our education system.
I was listening to Camnet News this evening, Professor, and I was embarrassed to know that we were celebrating 3-point-something million tons of maize that we have done bumper harvest. 3-point-something million. I said, my goodness. You mean we can't produce 10? Why should we get surplus from Brazil? We are capable of bringing 10 million tons. Not 3 million you start celebrating as a nation. With this vast land.
Can you imagine? I think, Pastor, what I think is that to a large extent, we don't challenge ourselves enough. We are happy with small things. We are happy with sometimes mediocrity. We are not challenged. We don't challenge ourselves to say, who are we? It comes back to ownership and awareness. When you are, then you challenge yourself to the full. Why do we live as though we are an isolated country? We live in the world. And there are a lot of examples to look at in terms of performance in all areas, science, education, and anything you can look at, medicine, and so on.
Let's pick up this call, Professor. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Kabwe.
Mr. Who?
My name is Philip Zulu.
Who?
My name is Philip Zulu.
Mr. Philip Zulu.
Yes.
Please go ahead and contribute to this great nation.
My contribution is that when I hear what Professor Msongole is talking about, this whole thing can be summarized as industrialization. Without industrialization, we are going to get nowhere. Yes. So the best thing that Zambia can do is try to ensure that we industrialize. And once we industrialize, then everything, we will have good agriculture, we will have good education, we will have everything that we need, good jobs and everything. So my contribution is that I'm very thankful to Professor Msongole, who is a friend of God, who were together at Kitoka. She won the primary to some time back. I don't know if you remember me, but it was a long time ago.
Uli Baba. Oh, that's fantastic.
So
thank you very much.
Before you hang, Mr. Zulu, who should start this process of industrialization? Is it us? Is it the government? Is it Camnet TV? Who should start?
It is ourselves. It's the people ourselves. When we start this, then our government must be able to assist. Because, you know, we think about so many things. Like, for example, myself here in Kabwe, I do manufacture a lot of things. But immediately I sell them to the shop, the Chinese Zambia.
Correct.
But of course, we need help. Yes. So government can only come in to give us help, to give us financial support.
That's right.
But we must be able to start with ourselves.
Yeah.
Yes.
Correct.
Thank you so much,
Thank you very much to see you, Professor, after a long time. I'm sure you remember me.
Thank you. Thank you. Please give me a call privately.
Okay.
Yeah, you call that number on the middle and say I'm Zulu, and then I'll give it to him.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. This is what you were talking about, ownership.
Yes. Yes. And you know, as a country, if we are genuine to ourselves, there's nothing we can fail to do.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. If we know what we want, and we are genuine to ourselves, and with that ownership that I was talking about, and the levels of awareness of where we want to be, there's nothing we can fail to do. Nothing.
So, Professor, help me with this as Camnet TV and my wife and I, the leadership of our church, how best can we sensitize Zambia?
Yeah.
Because I look good outside, but inside I bleed a lot.
Right.
Because when I see the potential, the people we have like in ourselves, my wife, when she's sitting with me, you've heard her countless times saying, human resource is important in any nation. And we have people like you. We have many people with brains. So what can we do, especially as Camnet TV? You can become sick not knowing that you are falling sick because of just wanting to help the nation. And
yeah, I think that you're already doing a great job as Camnet, in the sense that a lot of people are becoming aware of certain things. For example, myself, I became aware of fish through Camnet, and many other people, and many other things. So you're already doing well. So the only thing I can say is that you continue on this path, sensitizing people on what is possible, on what is available, and that they themselves can actually rise to the challenge and do these things. Sometimes the mind can tell you that you can't do, and yet you can. So mindset change in our country, coupled with what I was saying, ownership and awareness, and the zeal to help this country move forward. The attitude or the mindset of wanting to create wealth for yourself and intent for the country is what can help us move forward. And I think yourselves are well placed to try and bring to the fore the importance of mindset in our country, mindset change in our country. Yeah.
I'm going to take one call. If there is, Mr. Director, give us the text messages if they are there. And just know that Zambia is a great nation. Good evening, Pastor, and the panelist, Professor. Nice discussion. You are building the nation and its citizens. I think I would like to meet you, sirs, in different occasions. If the professor can give me his number, please. That is Chama. We have a caller there. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
What is your name and where are you calling us from? You are so clear.
Thank you. My name is Ken Mwaba from Kalabushi.
Ken Mwaba?
Yes, please.
Ken Mwaba, please go ahead and contribute to the nation.
Thank you for the opportunity. I followed the program, although I joined in early after a colleague posted something on our WhatsApp group for former Mungu. And I remember the professor as my senior.
Yes.
Good evening, Professor.
Good evening, thank you.
My point is, on the main things you've touched is on mathematics.
Yeah.
In my days at home, actually, it was through the professor from the mathematics club, and now he demystified it. Because I was having challenges from primary school with mathematics in college secondary, and I couldn't get what the teachers were saying. But as a fellow of YouTube, he formed a club, and when he left, we still excelled a lot together with my colleague, Professor Kenneth Chivalina.
Wow.
Now, what I want to say is from the academic point of view, we need to look at why mathematics is such a niche in our education system. Because there is great science pieces are complaining that mathematics is difficult. And that is a situation I fail to understand. When compared to our colleagues, like colleagues from Francophone, they are so good with mathematics, even from the few people I encounter. And I want to say there must be something wrong in our mathematical foundation. And our chats with the teachers in the few PTAs have been on to, where I say my observation with the research is that maybe we don't have specialized enough teachers starting from primary school. And that's where we lose the basics of and the concepts of mathematics.
Right.
Normally, when you look at the primary school teachers, due respect, most of them didn't do well in math. But those are the people who lay the foundation. And once you lose the basics, it's very difficult to catch it up in secondary. So I was lucky I had people like him who helped me, and I was able to get around and get into university, and having that challenges in life. So I think that should also be looked at, where we should have very specialized mathematics teachers right from primary school, so that people don't have this fear of mathematics. Very favorite in Zambia. Now the calculator is even terrible. You know, you buy just the water for 40 water. The person wants to use the calculator. That's the issue, and that is quite And I think maybe we should look at the people who study mathematics from our foundation stages. And the last point I want to say as well, which points to industrialization, is the research. You know, I had an opportunity to partner with the foreign partners who I work with. In Zambia, we do not do a lot of research. We don't help our universities. You know, there are a lot of ideas at the universities, but it takes a lot of money, but there is no funding. And it is very difficult. I had a chance to compare with my colleagues with what they do with their universities and what they do in Zambia. It's basically nothing. But when I talk to my colleagues in university, there is so much potential. And we should run out from the concept of saying when you do research and you don't have a positive result, then to bad research. No, even when you don't have a positive, at least you prove that that is what's possible. Now in Zambia, want to research, the research starts in January. If by June nothing is coming up, then it's not worth it. I think we need to have patience.
Correct.
I think those are the 2 points I want to bring to the fore so that other people can contribute. Thank you very much.
Actually, you are the last caller. Even if you had gone for 1 hour, I was going to allow you. Thank you.
Get the numbers and we can call later.
Yeah, please, Mr. Director, please put that number on the screen again. The middle number. I would like Ken and others to pick it up. Then Ken, just call that number, send me a text. Before we leave the studio, I'll forward the Professor Musongole's number, then you can pick it up as Mungwi former students. You are marginalizing us. Professor, he's talked about mathematics and research, but before we go there, I remember you, me, Professor Reda, Professor Munkumba, we went to some government official, government office.
Yes.
And when we entered, I'm introducing you to this, and the PS says he was my lecturer at University of Zambia. You remember that?
Yes.
Says, Professor Musongole taught me at University of Zambia. You have influenced and affected the people of Zambia.
I'm very humbled for the opportunity. That through my works at the University of Zambia, at NRDC, at Mporokoso Secondary School, Mungwi itself, University of Cape Town, and other places, that a lot of people have come to know me and have experienced my skill to teach them mathematics. It's very humbling. It's very, very humbling. In fact, I hardly go anywhere without meeting my former student, which is very good. It's a good feeling.
Ken talked about research, that Zambia doesn't research.
In fact, I want to talk about the earlier thing you mentioned of why is mathematics difficult. You know, there are quite a number of factors that have affected us as a country in terms of mathematics being difficult or being easy. One of the things, Pastor, is, in my view, other people may differ. In this country, we don't have a culture of solving problems.
We don't.
We don't have. If you've noticed, and you can look anywhere, you are going to find that there's a problem pending to be solved. So we don't have that culture of sitting down, using our heads to solve a problem. This is why, even when foreigners come here and they are making a road, you will see that they'll make a sharp turn at a junction, as if vehicles slide when they are turning. Because they realize that we are not, people are going to question.
Why are you making
a sharp road and yet vehicles don't slide when turning? Okay? Look at let me take this opportunity to talk about where we fell. Look at the drainage systems that we have put along our roads, even Independence Avenue. They are so deep that they become hazardous for any driver that goes off the road. And we don't care.
Or when a pedestrian slips.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you sure that's the best drainage that we can have on our roads? Somebody comes and digs it up, and you don't care because we don't want to think and solve a problem. The other problem that affects mathematics learning is the environment where we are coming from, homes. No, most parents do not care whether a child is learning simple arithmetic so that when they go to school they can have a head start. Then we have another issue of, because we haven't paid attention to a concept, we take it that it's hard. And we start preaching, mathematics is hard. And everybody, it vibrates everywhere. And people start believing that mathematics is difficult, when in fact it's not. The other issue is just the environment in the school. The environment in the school. You find that this school has no teaching aids, mathematical teaching aids, and therefore a child is supposed to, I don't know, guess or learn how. And we don't care about that. A lot of countries where children, excel in mathematics, you should see the teaching aids they have. Lastly, I would like to say that as a country, if you have an objective or a goal of making sure that science is the predominant subject or whatever area in the country to aid what you was talking about, industrialization or technological advances, if the country had that objective, you'd be paying attention to how people are starting to learn mathematics. Because do you know, Pastor, any process that evolves, the initial conditions are very important to determine how that process is going to occupy space or how it's going to evolve. The initial conditions. If you don't pay attention to the initial conditions, forget. But how do you pay attention to initial conditions? You must know what the process should achieve. So as a country, if we know that we really need mathematics in this country to support science and other issues that depend on mathematics, there's no way we can sit idle and look at our people complaining about mathematics. We'll do something. First of all, parents, we have a responsibility to ensure that our children have interest or gain interest in mathematics. Then the system, government. How are our teachers teaching mathematics? What is the classroom environment? Does it support learning, teaching and learning of mathematics? All these things are things that we must pay attention to, only if we know where the country should go as far as mathematics is concerned, to support science, which is the bedrock of any country that needs to succeed economically and technologically. Yeah.
Professor, I'm so grateful to the Lord that you found the time to come to CamNet TV.
Thank you.
And I must say to all of you that are watching, this is just a glimpse of what awaits you on the 28th and the 29th. Let's become knowledgeable. Don't just rush to have chicken, to have this without knowledge. These men are there, and I appeal again, government officials, permanent secretaries, whoever you are, please come to this conference, because it's going to change the dynamics of how we look at agriculture. And these men are going to pour in their best, and the scientists that are going to talk about all these things that we've been promoting here, you'll be so amazed. They will give you up-to-date information. When you are planting this, you must take this space, you must do this, be aware of that. I believe that this country, we have great people. I'm so grateful once again on behalf of my wife, on behalf of the leadership of our church. And you know, sorry, Professor, do you know that my wife and I have begun an empowering program for our church members?
That's good.
Oh yeah,
That's
on a serious note.
That's very good.
And I'm watching them 3-4 years. If I don't develop millionaires, yes, I'm talking to the nation. But my wife and I are beginning a program for our church members.
That's very good.
I am tired of living with failures.
Right.
I am tired of just preaching. Demons come out. What? Some of them, they are not demons, it's just hunger.
Yes.
You know,
yes,
so I've begun an empowerment program, and they are registering their names with our one of our leaders. I want to teach them the word with my wife. But watch, this church is going places. I want history to be written about our church.
That's fantastic.
Not only in this nation, but around the world.
That's good to know.
Yes, sir.
That's good to know.
Thank you so much. We can do so much. Keep watching CamNet TV, and remember, CamNet TV is not just another channel. We are into news time. In case you missed the news, go ahead and listen to this. Shalom, shalom.